Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dead Game Podcast. My name is Wally Phelps,
And I am Carlos Longoria.
and this is the show where we look at games that people say are dead and go, that just will not do.
It will not.
And we're going to bring them back to life in some way. So, how have you been doing?
I've been doing okay. Work's been going well. What's funny is so I know you've been a bit under the weather,
Hmm.
and
I has the COVID.
yeah, and so so I was like, oh, I'll play some of these other, like I'm always like, we get together and it's well known that we get together and play Fortnite a bunch,
Right.
which we have not done in
No, I've
like a
I've
a
played
week and
some
something.
Fortnite
Yeah,
since, but I haven't played
yeah,
with anybody.
right. Like I played like a round or two here and there. Like it was like
Right.
just to log in, see what was going on, whatever. And oh, it
Check
did the
out new
update the other
stuff.
day. Let me, see what,
Yeah.
whatever. So I'd log in, play like one game, and I'd be like, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
and
that's about it.
yeah, and one game. Oh man, I don't know why I did not save the game. I didn't win. I think I got like somewhere. I can't remember what place. Like I got like seventh or something like that. But there was one part in the game where I was just mowing people down, and these were real players.
Nice.
It was everybody was engaged. It was chaos. It was one of those moments where it was like turn around, oh, switch guns, and it was
Right.
one of those where you just like it was a constant battle, and I had, I had done really well. I thought I was gonna die like several times because I would have an encounter with like two or three people. I was playing
Mm,
solos, so it'd be like one after the next, and I was just outperforming, by a
right.
long shot on these games. And I was like, man, I thought this was a bot, and no, it was a player, and
Right.
what you call it? Now, I of course ran into some bots at the beginning, but in the middle of the game, like I went to an area, I was like, "There's gunfire. I'm gonna make this fun," and boy, was it! And I forgot to save the. I was like, I'll just save it, whatever. And I just didn't, and I forgot, and I was like, "Oh man," because it was really wild, and that was that though. But other than that, I really hadn't been, and like I said, what I was getting around at was you and I play a lot of Fortnite, but of course we haven't. And I was like, I'm gonna play other stuff in the meantime, that I've been meaning to try out. And I tried a few things and whatnot and everything. And oh, I tried this one. Nah, I didn't like that. I downloaded Monster Hunter Rise
Mm.
yesterday, and I was like, was it yesterday or day before? It doesn't matter. And I said, I'm gonna give this a try. It's a big name game. Blah blah blah. They talk way too daggone much in the introduction, and anytime you got to go talk to somebody and everything to get a mission, and
Let's
the
get into some
gameplay, I
action.
understand, like, yeah, I understand why people like it, but it's not gonna, like, I uninstalled it after about like half an hour. I was like,
uh,
nah, I am not gonna stick with this, like, I'm just nah.
I
And
I don't blame you. I was actually thinking about doing downloading it because it was in the list of Game Pass games
yeah,
at the like recent Game Pass games,
right.
and I ended up downloading that um, rhythm action platformer,
Oh
Hi
yeah.
Fi. I think
Oh,
it's
was it the one with
called.
the kid with the robot arm or something like that?
Yeah, he has a
Yeah, yeah,
robot
yeah, I saw
arm.
that.
The art style is fantastic.
Yeah.
The animation's magnificent. The graphics are just beyond anything I can even think of. I mean, it is really nice to look at.
Yeah.
It, but it's a rhythm game and it's a fighting game at the same time. So
Yeah, I saw
it's pretty
the
interesting.
how they have the little video trailer,
Right.
whatever. You look at the game, you like look at the info and it starts playing the trailer. I saw that and I was like, Oh, again, and honestly, I didn't realize it was a rhythm game at first until like I was watching the little gameplay, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
because like the
and
whole background beats with the beat basically,
yeah, yeah,
and you get attack bonuses if you're hitting them with the beat,
with the beat, yeah,
and the strong one is like 2 beats a second, so it's like boom, 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 you know. So you got
mm,
to be able to kind of just.
yeah, get your
And as a
timing down.
white person, I'm terrible at it.
Are you saying you have no rhythm, sir? Yeah,
Uh,
it's so. Yeah, I get that.
but it was fun. I really liked what I played so far.
So I saw that Metal Hellslinger was on there also, which is also a rhythm game.
Mm. I
In
haven't
this,
even. I didn't
it's
know
in
that.
yeah, it's in Game Pass. It came out like a few weeks back.
Hmm.
Um, and what's funny is we were talking about all these like one of the previous episodes was rhythm games,
Right.
and
And
I
then
was,
suddenly all these
and then
rhythm games started
suddenly
coming out.
like two or
I
three
like
rhythm games are
to
just
take
like coming out.
full
Yeah.
credit for this.
Yes, I was like, they obviously heard our
Listen to the show.
episode and made games immediately.
Right, exactly. They put together a team. They had a budget. It was amazing, and one of the 5 people to listen to our show had that pull.
Yeah, the Metal Hellslinger one was. Oh, you know what? I messaged you about that game. I was because I didn't download it. I tried to do it on
On the
the
cloud.
cloud, and I was that's the text I had sent you a while back, saying that yeah, doing rhythm games on a cloud is not
It
ideal.
was
Yeah,
not ideal. I actually, it's funny. It's funny
I
you
was
should
like,
mention
all
it
right,
because I was playing that other game on the cloud and I was doing pretty good. But
yeah,
then I could tell that there was some input lag
yeah,
later on. Like, I guess my internet connection got a little
yeah. It's up
worse.
and down, sure.
So it's like, so I'm sitting there, I know I'm hitting it on time, but it's
Right.
like, ooh,
That's
let's
why I
try
was
that
like,
again.
because
It's like,
it kept
oh.
counting as a miss, and I was like, I am look. I know I'm pressing the button on top. You know what I mean? Like, I know. Look,
I know I'm hitting it on the
I am doing the
on the beat.
thing. Yeah, and yeah, like I can follow the beat. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'll have to install it, and I just hadn't made room for it. Is what it
I
is.
haven't I
I
haven't
need to
installed it either.
uninstall one or two games just to so I can try it and
But
give it a proper
you know what I
try.
did download right afterwards though? GoldenEye 007.
Oh, you know what? I was going to, and I just haven't done it yet.
I'm telling you, man, that game is great with a Xbox controller. I'm telling you,
So
it's so much fun.
so and of course they added the widescreen support and everything and all that
Right. Hmm.
on these versions. So what I'm hearing, I actually was just watching a video on this yesterday, and this guy was showing the differences between the because it's on Nintendo Switch also,
Right, yeah.
and
And of
for
course Jason's
whatever
gonna be playing it on
reason,
the Switch.
yeah, for whatever reason though, it is not a good experience on the Switch. Because
Oh wow.
they did not do the full analog support on the thing. So
Why would you not?
you only use the one left stick to control movement and aiming, and it's just like, what?
Why would you do
So I don't know, and I
that?
was like, that is dumb.
I guess they're trying
But
for a more accurate portrayal of
yeah,
what it was on a Nintendo console, but
yeah.
I mean,
From what I understand, if I understood the guy correctly, two separate studios did the
the
emulation.
conversions, yeah.
Yeah, the conversion to the emulation. So one of them, the ones that did it for Xbox, got it right, and the
Right.
other ones were like, no, we'll just emulate the way it was.
That'll be
Give
fine.
the real experience. Don't give them any option
To
to use.
change
Yeah, to change it. No, what? Why?
wow, because like on the
I was
Xbox, it
like,
is such a great experience because
yeah,
it's lightning fast. The controls are fantastic and very easy to just figure
that's what I
out.
hear. I haven't played it yet. I was going to yesterday, and I was
Wow.
like, I was like, "Yeah, I'll get to it
The
at some point."
only
Yeah,
downside is that there's no online multiplayer. You
I
have
know.
to be
Oh,
in the
the
same room.
Switch. Well, the Switch
The
offers
Switch does have it,
online.
yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because it is the worst online experience you can have
And I
in
think
any
it's
of the
because
three
you
major
have
platforms.
to, because the way they have it set up, you have to have an online component in order to be
Right.
in that. So I get that, but man, that sucks.
Yeah,
you know,
really. But it just I don't know. I don't get that. It's like
I'm gonna have to
the
get 3 people over here
I know. I know.
to play some
Oh
damn
man.
Goldeneye. I'm gonna be odd job. I'm calling it right now. No, but
Oh my god.
uh,
Yeah, I have not played GoldenEye in
oh,
a good
I
many
played
years.
it not long ago, like just a few years ago. I don't
Oh yeah.
remember how. I think it might have been on an actual Nintendo 64
Oh
on display somewhere,
yeah.
and it just I couldn't get too far on it because of how
Yeah.
bad it controlled.
Well, yeah, and
But
that's the thing is, you get used to the modern controls and the way things
mhm.
should be that are much more intuitive and cooperate with the way your hands work and your brain
Right,
thinks.
and
And then you
it
go back to the
works.
old way before they figured all that out, and you're like, "Oh my god, I can't play this game."
What is happening? Yeah, I've got when I was playing the game on Xbox, it was real easy and honestly, it might feel like a little bit like cheating because of the fact that I'm just like running through everybody like
Yeah,
ah
I mean, but that's all you have to do though on that game.
yeah.
You just keep moving.
Uh,
Yeah,
it
you're
was great, and
fine.
then you jump off the side of the thing, and it's great. It's yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess we could go into our main topic.
sure.
Today we are talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
Now, the reason why I came up with this idea to do a Dungeons and Dragons episode is because of the OGL drama that's going on. And if you
Right.
don't know what that is, you probably would get a better overview of it if you go online to look it up. But essentially, for the last 20 years, Dungeons and Dragons has allowed third party publishers to come out with supplemental materials for Dungeons and Dragons, so you
Hmm.
don't have to wait for them to come up with stuff. And they essentially was trying to make it to where, oh god, there's a lot of things you
Yeah.
would end up having to run everything by them first. They would have to approve it. Even if they didn't approve it, they could take your ideas for themselves and sell it
Yeah.
without giving you any kind of
Yeah.
incentive.
Hey, that's a good
Um,
idea. Unapproved. Hey, sell
the
this.
yeah, hey,
Yeah.
could you take this and put this in the next book? They was gonna make it to where if you make over $750,000, you had to pay 20% of that to them first. Uh, Before taxes or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that's such a huge
It's a big cut.
it's a huge yeah, it's $750,000 isn't going to affect a whole lot of people, but it's
No.
like that I mean, if you're the person who has to go through the financials
Yeah.
of those companies, how do you even figure that out?
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, we've made $749,999. What do we do?
Yeah. Really.
We
Haha.
don't have 20% of this to
Yeah.
give them at
Yeah.
this point. So I don't know. So there was a lot going on. That all ended up essentially going away on Friday of this last Friday, and because they said that they're not going to revoke that licensing anymore, and they're putting the SRD, which is the basically basic rules for
Hmm.
D&D, they're putting that in Creative Commons, meaning that you can actually print those
Interesting.
now in your own books.
Interesting.
So as a reference material, you can't do it like any of their copyrighted stuff, but you'll be able to use their stuff.
Right. Right.
So it's interesting because not only did we win, I guess, but we also ended up with more than we imagined at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
But I mean, my thing is they were doing this all because, of course, they needed to make money, and I understand
Of course,
their
yeah,
business.
and I understand, from a business aspect, I
Right.
understand why they did it, but
Exactly.
also you, at there comes a point to where they knew that the community. All right, whose idea was it in the first place that thinking that this was a good idea is what I want to
Right.
know. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, it's got to be
because
the executives.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It had to have been somebody that was really just not a player of sorts. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
I mean, really, it just what it comes down to. It came down to somebody that was just business minded and didn't care about how it affected, not
Right.
thinking about how it is going, the backlash that they would get in, especially in today's society where people just
Right.
aren't standing for things the way that it was. Like growing up, there was companies made changes, people spoke their beef about it, and then it was done. It was kind of, I
Right.
mean, companies walked all over people because they could. They hold all the power.
Right.
It's not anymore.
I mean,
That's
it is to a point still. I mean, like
yeah,
EA
yeah, yeah,
still does stupid stuff, and
yeah,
but at the same time, they over a long period of time they do see where it just kind of goes wrong, so to
right,
speak,
right.
because with EA, there was a that game Dice developed it. Oh, Battlefront 2,
Oh yeah, yeah.
where they were doing all of those random loot
The loot boxes,
boxes,
yeah,
and there wasn't a way to get the like main characters and things like that that you would want in that game without doing the loot boxes, and
without
then
spending the money, yeah,
exactly, and you could earn the loot boxes, but the way you did it was just far beyond what anybody felt was reasonable.
it
So
was out of reach.
now the interesting thing is the suits at Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Dungeons and Dragons, are all from the video games ecosystem.
Oh,
So they hired a lot of people from video games to come into Wizards of the Coast to help monetize the brand,
sure.
including the new CEO, who came from, I believe, Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
And and I think a lot of this has, I think a lot of this comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of Dungeons and Dragons, the brand,
okay.
because Dungeons and Dragons, interestingly enough, unlike video games, we don't need you.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, we're making it up as we go. We don't
Yeah, I
need
was gonna say it's not okay. Yeah, they come up with and a lot of it's what third party stuff and everything. I am not
right.
as well
Let
versed in it like you are. I'm new to D&D
right,
still. So,
right,
but from what I understand, a good majority of the material that is used these days, besides the rules and the base character
right. The
system,
rules, the
the
characters, all that
stories and
stuff.
the ideas come from like other users and like, hey,
Right.
that's pretty good. Let's use that. So,
The campaign that we're playing right now is entirely of my creation. Like
right,
there's the characters and the opponents that you're facing are in the monster manual, the dungeon master's guide,
right,
and the player's handbook, but the ideas and the stories are an amalgamation of just stories in general. I
sure,
mean,
sure,
yeah,
sure.
that there's things that are totally stolen from things, but it's like I have this whole idea that I'm building toward, and
Yeah,
and the main bad guy is totally original. The like I'm combining elements of Spelljammer and just all of these things, and all of those are Wizards of the Coast stuff, right?
right, right.
But the thing is, once you buy that book, I don't need you.
Yeah, right.
It's, and I do have third party content too. I have a Dungeon Master's Guide to Random Encounters, which is incredibly useful.
Oh,
It gives me ideas. I haven't used it whole cloth on any of the encounters, but like I've taken elements
mhm,
and story beats and things of that nature, as well as names,
right.
because everybody keeps asking me what everybody's names are, and
Yeah.
I'll have
Yeah.
that.
Oh, and there's a guard over there, 80 feet away. What's his name?
Hey, what's your name? Yeah, I mean, honestly, if they just had an app that
And
randomly made names, I would buy that for like
I
$3.
think I think what it is didn't one of our sessions we missed a character or something. We didn't talk to somebody that we should have or
Well, I don't.
something. And I think
I
and
don't remember.
everybody's like, "All right, we ain't missing nobody now."
Just
Is
going
it
around asking everybody, "Hey, what's your
hey,
name?"
that leaf looks suspicious over there.
And sometimes I'll be
Because
taken so completely off guard that I'll say something ridiculous, like his name is Vincent Adult Man, and
yeah, adult man.
which is
Yeah.
a BoJack Horseman character, and
Right.
but but so the thing is, I was thinking that everybody's leaving. Well, not everybody, but like there was a huge exodus from Dungeons and Dragons off,
Right.
and the problem that we run into is that the players really only need one book. That's really all they need
Sure.
specifically. And dungeon masters end up buying a lot more because they have the Dungeon Master's Guide, the monster manual, whatnot.
Right.
Players also could benefit from things like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and the uh, Xanatar's Guide to Everything. And the reason why is because there are other options, other spells that you
Mhm.
can get from these books that are not in the player's guide. Uh, D&D Beyond, which is the application, the website that they actually own now, Wizards of the Coast own. They bought it not long ago, and they're wanting everything to be kind of through that. And a lot of people have have canceled their subscriptions to D&D Beyond as protest of
Oh, okay.
the
Very good.
the
Yeah.
the OGL thing. And that's a lot of the reason why we
Yeah.
won, because they
Right,
lost
right.
over
They lost money.
40,000 accounts from some internal
Yeah.
projections,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's $6 a piece. And the reason why that's such a big deal is because, well, yeah, it hits them in their pocket, but like the reason why we're able to share all of the books and things on the D&D Beyond is because of I want to call him Shadrick. I'll call him Shadrick. Shadrick
Mhm.
shares it with everybody,
Right.
so as a benefit of his subscription to the service.
Right.
So I of course want that to continue happening. I think that's a good
Oh, of
idea.
course. Yeah, sure.
But I
Yeah.
think that I feel like if you make D&D Beyond, and I don't mind if they would have bump up the price to like $10 or something like that, and make it to where you have access to all of the books,
Right.
because wouldn't that make a lot of sense
Yeah.
to, like, a Netflix for D&D,
Right. Right. And I mean, what they could do is limit. If they're concerned about like, well, everybody's just gonna get all the books and then not need it or whatever. I mean, there's ways of getting the books without needing them anyway. I'm not. You
Well,
know what I
that's
mean?
true. That's
But
true.
legitimately, okay. And I'm not saying that I'm not. I wasn't that person that you know did such things before.
How dare
But
you?
uh,
No.
okay, like okay, so many people. Okay, I'll for example, so many people find ways to watch movies without a Netflix subscription, without you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm this person.
A
I'm saying
complex
people do
way,
it.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. There's complex ways of sharing this
Mhm.
media, and
Uh, we are
but
NordVPN is our. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
slash dead game. No, yeah. Um, Not sponsored, by the way. I guess we
We
gotta say
yeah,
that.
we don't have any sponsors.
Yeah, we don't have any sponsors. So brought to you by uh, drinking water. Keeps us alive.
Regular, normal
This
water.
keeps us alive. Look, but a lot of people were doing this kind of thing for the longest time. You know, um, and I'm not gonna say that I wasn't one of the people that went and bought movies from the DVD man down the road. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Right.
hey, yeah. But
I
but
might have been
once
the DVD man at one point.
but yeah, but you know what I'm saying. So, but the thing for me is now that the companies under embraced this platform of streaming services, I can't say that I, actually go and look for anything, any stuff, on the what you call it, illegitimately. Like
That
I
complex way.
gladly pay my $10 or whatever the heck it
Hmm.
is a month for each of these subscriptions because some of them are cheaper than
Right.
others. I don't necessarily mind ads. Some of them I prefer, like I pay for YouTube Premium,
Oh, I do.
and I will never cancel that one as long as I can
It's
because
really
it
funny. There's
is.
two camps
I
because
love the
there's
way that that works.
exactly there's like the people who have YouTube Premium who will never let it go
And
because
like
it.
I'll cancel Netflix. I'll let Netflix
I
go,
would let
and
everything
I'll let
expire,
my Hulu go. I'll let all of my other stuff expire. I'll renew it later. I'm not, and I pay more for
and
my
then
YouTube Premium because
there's
I'm
that
on a
other
I'm on a
group of
shared
people.
family thing.
Right,
So
me
it's
too.
I'm at a higher tier. So yeah, so of course no. And so it's not only going to affect me, it's going to affect my fiance as well. Because she
Right.
uses YouTube like all the time. That's her main source
And then there's that group of
of
people who are
entertainment.
like, I'm not paying for YouTube.
Yeah,
And it's
and that's
like,
what I was saying. Like, why is it?
like
YouTube's free? Why would I pay? You haven't tried it.
because you do you know how much time I've
I
saved?
know, and the ads alone, and I like using the YouTube Music app
Oh
separate.
yeah,
That's
I love
separate
that
from
too.
you.
Yeah.
And I tell people, no, get YouTube Music. Yeah, but I play on YouTube. No, it is a different app. Stop.
You don't
Understand,
understand.
it is not the same thing.
It's like Spotify Premium. You don't
Yeah,
have any kind of ads or anything like
there's no ads. It
ads
just plays
are
your list. It just plays your list, and I love it.
ads
I
make
mean,
me so angry.
it does. I
Yeah.
know when okay, on the rare occasion that I can't find something that I'm looking for, or I have something saved on Spotify, because I was using Spotify for a while. Now I was a free user. I was never a premium Spotify user.
Right.
But there are some things that I have on Spotify, that are already like my curated list. So I will occasionally go back to that and use it for those specific lists whenever I'm doing something, whatever. But when an ad plays, it's like, what is this?
Right. And that is the
And I feel, and in that moment, I both feel I'm offended that they're playing this ad, and at the same time, I'm offended at myself for being that snooty. Going, I can't believe the ads. It's
I
like,
will
wait a minute,
never use better help.
I know. Oh, so
and,
yeah, I
and
don't
that's
know.
the thing, and that's one thing that they could do also is a ad supported tier. I don't even
Right?
understand why they wouldn't have that. I mean, if you have an ad supported tier that's maybe less than that,
Yeah,
you have to watch an ad to get access to the
to
books, and
get
then
to the
you have it
book. Yeah,
for however long.
whatever the period is.
I
Yeah,
think, or even just links on the bottom and the top of the page, that kind of
right.
thing.
See, my thing
Eh,
is, I was saying this whole thing about the subscription stuff, and that's how it started here, and I got totally lost into saying my thing was is they could do the ads, uh and they could do the for instance, like you could check it out like at a library, because if you ever use if you have a library card, as I do, because
right.
I'm one of the cool kids.
Uh, Obviously.
Obviously, obviously. So, because like with a library card, you can log into. There's an app that you can log into. It's called Libby, and uh, you can check out books from the library, like the actual, like, the e-publication version of books on your phone or whatever tablet using your library card as if you were to go to the library. You can do the same with like some other media and stuff and everything, depending on like audiobooks and whatnot and everything, which is how I listen to my audiobooks. Like I'll look and I'll add something to my list and I'll download an audiobook and and you get it for 21 days. So they
It,
could do something similar
yeah,
and they could do it for like, here, you have access to this book for X amount of time for, this or whatever after
for
you
this
watch the
kind
ad
of like
or whatever
renting
tier
the
subscription.
thing.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
renting the book.
and another thing that I was coming up with, and this is my second thing that I was going to go into, is the uh, idea, and they've done this to a point, but I feel like the price point is too excessive. I think that there should be digital copies of every physical book that you purchase,
Sure.
and with like a code on inside
Yeah.
in a way that you can't open it up in store. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
just
right.
because I feel like it doesn't make any sense for you to have to buy both the digital and the physical copy separate from one another.
Well,
And I think it also doesn't make sense to have to buy one and then you have to pay $20 more for for the digital version.
you're
It
right.
doesn't cost $20 for you to have access to a damn
It's
PDF.
a
That doesn't
PDF.
make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, if they do like a key of some sort that comes with the book, but it's like sealed in the
Right,
inner packaging of some kind of way, maybe they can do it like a gift card that's inside the book
right.
or a
Something
print,
of
a
that nature.
sticker of some sort. They would have to do the thing. You would have to register it to your account. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and that way they can. So, that way they could be like, oh, well, no, anybody can get the key and blah blah blah. Well, just like any other key, once it's activated, it's done.
right,
Like you do that with Steam. Once you activate your key, it's your key. You can't just like go, hey, buddy, use my key. No, it's not how it is.
right.
So once it's
And
activated,
they could
it's
do that
fine.
with the way Spelljammer was sold. It had like an outer cover, and then you put all the books into it. If you made all of the books to where you couldn't really pull them out,
Right.
in store, that would be another way of doing it. I mean,
Hmm, hmm.
there's ways to do it, and I feel like that they should make it more affordable. I understand they're trying to monetize it, but at the same time, I feel like it would behoove them to do so. It
You're
would
right.
have more people in your ecosystem if you were
Yeah.
to download this or have access to it on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
So you'll be in that ecosystem, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. So if, what they could do is seal all the books, so that way people
Right.
can't just like open the books and stuff and everything. They can seal them in the whatever the heck plastic type thing. You
And
know what I
some of
mean?
them
Make it nice
are
and tough.
already done
And
that.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Because you see other, I've seen books that are sealed, so that way you don't
I've
just like
seen
whatever.
D&D
And
books
then
like
they have, and
that.
then yeah, and then have the sample book
Right.
with the display, and there you go. There's a sample book. You can see, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like. Okay, let me buy the book. That's all you gotta do. You know what I mean? So I don't
Outrage.
know. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways, and I'm sure like I'm not a marketing person, but I'm sure there's a lot of ways that somebody could come up with ideas to be like, well, we can do this, we can do this. You know what I mean? There's teams for that. There's
Right.
brainstorm teams for that. So I don't know.
and,
I
and
just think limiting
especially, yeah,
limiting access is it just seems a little bit more money grabby in that way, if
yeah,
just going, oh, you want here, hey, $20 for this book, but it's also $20 for the virtual wait a minute now.
right.
Wait, I
Well,
already bought
and
this
it's
book.
not even $20. It's like 30, 50 to $50.
Right.
It's like
I
it's a
just throwing
lot
money out.
more expensive.
Either way is like,
But
it's
right,
cost us like you buy one and you pay the same price for the
for
digital
the digital
copy.
one, yeah.
And
And
as like,
it always bothers
why?
me because like I
But the
have all of these books on my shelf,
right.
but D&D Beyond doesn't see it that way. It sees me owning just the SRD,
Right.
the rules, and
Right.
it's like, no, I have all of these books.
Yeah.
I have access to these books. You should
Right.
give me access to these books,
Yeah.
and they don't. So,
Yeah.
what? Here's an example of a real world scenario that happened. The space clowns that you guys fought,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so these are uh, actual creatures from the Spelljammer book,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys fought them, but it's they're not in any of the documentation on D&D Beyond because nobody in our group owns a digital copy of Spelljammer.
Right.
So there are things in that whole encounter that just doesn't exist in D&D Beyond as it
Right.
were, because none of us owns the digital copy of it. I own a
Right.
physical copy of Spelljammer and not a digital one.
Right.
So
Right.
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that,
I agree. I
you
agree.
know, but and that brings me to my next point is making things that people want to buy, and
Hmm.
I think that is something that they are not really doing. That as a toy company, Hasbro's not really doing a whole lot as far as merchandise is concerned. There's a
No.
lot of D&D merchandise, but a lot of it has to do with like lifestyle stuff. They've got
Sure.
shirts and cups and mugs. That's fine. I
Yeah.
like those types of things.
Yeah. I like
But
that kind of stuff.
I mean, we need more variety when it comes to like dice towers and
Right.
dice themselves, and they could have a whole line of minis. They have minis, but like more Hero Forge type minis.
Right.
And,
Right.
yes, Hero Forge exists, but at the same time, why is Hasbro not doing something like that?
Right.
The books I feel like could use more special editions with more like stuff that comes with it. So like Spelljammer could come with like if you bought the special edition like it's a video game,
Hmm.
the like a boat, like an actual Spelljammer that you could have on display,
Yeah.
or just minis of all of the main characters, like have a
Yeah. For
mini
that
of
line.
Boo and the space clowns and the space vampires and the space pirates, and there's a
Wait,
lot of
there's space
characters.
vampires on it?
No.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
uh, pretend I
No.
said nothing.
No. No.
But,
No. No, Wally,
oh,
you
I
have
can imagine like a
if
solar
you're a
dragon.
cop, you have to tell me. I'm just telling you.
If you're a cop, it's yeah. If you're a space vampire, you
If you're
are
a space
required by
vampire, you
law.
have to tell me. Yeah. Yeah, you're yeah. Yeah.
Required by law to tell me that you're a
Tell
space
me.
vampire.
Yes.
But it's funny how there's all these characters in Spelljammer that are just something, but they put space in front of
Yeah. See, I know. Yes, that's so weird now.
there's a, and that's the only way. Like I know the Hattazee, which is a monkey creature,
Mhm.
and but I don't remember the name of a whole lot of other things. Like there's a character type that is like goo, like he is made
Mm.
of like goo, and you can actually play as one of these. It tells you how to build
Oh,
one as a player
interesting.
character, and these things can actually even go into spaces that are small spaces. They could like maneuver their way in and stuff like that,
Like
and it's
get
really
in
cool.
cracks
Yeah.
and whatnot. Interesting.
So that's really interesting stuff, but I can't remember what those are called or anything like that. So it's but man, the space vampire, I remember that.
Space What?
I could imagine a nice space vampire action figure, but yeah, we need lots of special editions. They had
Yeah.
like the Dragonlance book that just came out, and it sounds like I'm losing my voice a little.
Mm.
because I haven't used it a lot over the last however long.
Yeah, yeah.
But Dragonlance just came out, and it had a companion board game that came with it that was
Whoa.
actually part of the campaign. So you
Interesting.
play the board game, and then I guess however the board game went, that actually spills over into the beginning of your campaign setting,
Mhm.
and that is very interesting to me. And the thing
Yeah,
with
it is.
Dragonlance is that it's a wartime story. So there's a war going on, so you have like these giant battles that are happening.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what that's going to end up being like, because I know how bored some of y'all get with combat if there's too many people going at the same time. uh to the point where you fell asleep once. uh
No, I look, that
no,
was
you were
because
tired, yeah,
I
I know.
was look, I had to yeah, my schedule was really bad that
No,
week,
I know.
and
We
I
were
had been
over. I mean,
well,
yeah,
I had well, I think what it is that week I was working like the really early shift and I had to go in like at 3
right,
or
right.
3:30 rather, or something like that. I think it was. And that entire week and the week before I was working this schedule and it kept like, once you get set on a schedule,
Right,
you're just kind of yeah, so it was like way past my bedtime and I'm
right,
just
right, right,
I
right,
think
right.
I was doing this like I was
You were
just like
doing that, yeah. You
yeah,
were
I think I was just like and what it was is I think I started getting a headache. Like, you
like
know what I mean?
Tetris is asleep.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm putting my head right here and
And then it
I
was
remember hearing you guys talk, but I don't remember a thing y'all
anything,
said
yeah.
though. Yeah, and then y'all were like, "Hey, or what? I don't remember what y'all said. Y'all, you were like, "Hey,
I
hey,
think he's asleep.
yeah, yeah," and I was like, "No, I'm not. Roll the dice." Yeah, I don't.
Crit. No.
Yeah, I
But no,
yeah
I
I
think the
was
fight was
wore
over
out
with
that
by the
day.
time we got over there. But it's one of those things. But no, like if there's too many people involved, combat does seem to get a little bogged down. Y'all are enjoying the combats I'm putting together now, thank
Oh
God.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It's they're a lot of fun.
but man, that first couple of rounds where it's like seven of y'all, and well, how many are in the group? There's like six in the group, so it was like
Yeah,
10 people in one combat, and we had to go around the bend. And
yeah. I don't. How many was it?
I think the stronger the villain, the more y'all are in. Like, one strong villain is better than three not so
Three
strong
just
villains.
guy three three farmers.
Right, three farmers, because you guys can just kill the shit out of the farmers, but it takes forever to do it. And but like you guys fought a bone creature. I forgot what it was, but it was like a
Bone
bone
Devil.
creature, a bone devil. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And
I know. I was just thinking about that and I was like, boy, and we had just leveled up and I was like, made my attack stronger. I have my shield from my last purchase. Boy, I'm gonna rip this thing I'm gonna
and you
hit this thing
rolled the
so
dice,
hard.
you got a one.
And on its first attempt,
Oh, it critted.
crit
That's right.
and yeah, and knocked me down and I was just on the
I wish you would
oh.
have seen my daughter's face whenever that happened, because she was like I rolled it and she's looking at the dice like, really?
But I'll get into these ruts of just bad roll. Like some games
Yeah,
are just they're fine. Like I'll get a good
yeah,
roll, I'll
you're
get a
kind of
bad
in the
roll.
middle
Yeah,
there.
it's in the
Yeah.
middle, it's fine. And then just like for whatever reason, I'll get in these bad like my bad luck is at its peak that night. Like we have a game tonight.
Uh,
I am waiting. To,
oh yeah,
we're gonna see. We're gonna
look.
see.
I'll see how this goes, because I
Yeah,
have some things planned tonight uh that are going to be some fun. But
yeah.
I hope that's Now,
Oh man.
remember, you can listen to some of these on my Patreon
Yes.
at patreon.com/the real big wall. We have 2 episodes up. I'm still editing the third one because it's taken me so long. These things are a monster. I might actually cut them down to smaller episodes and then upload the
Make them
smaller
like, yeah, do
episodes.
like
Yeah,
a small chunk here and there, 15, 20 minute episode here and there.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, a podcast used to be, 10, 15, 20 minutes because it
right.
was bite-sized content. And now it's like, if it's not 3 hours long, you're not a real podcast. What? Wait a minute now. I don't want to listen to. Okay, there is like one other podcast that I actually will listen to that is like 2, 3 hours long,
What would
but
that be?
it is uh what? Oh, the Emulate This podcast.
Oh, okay.
So it's a gaming podcast, and it's just a
Never
group of
heard of it.
guys.
Not yeah.
Yes, really. So they just get together and they just mess around. Sometimes they're drinking whatever,
Mhm.
and so it makes for a funny show because they're such good friends. You can tell they're all such good friends. You know what I mean? And they're all in the same room. Occasionally they'll have that went during COVID. They did do a remote record and all that stuff and everything the way that we do, but they all live in the same area.
Yeah.
And so they all get together like on one night, and they'll get together and just like one of them, like the host, he'll bake he's making food while they're recording, like
Right.
in the oven or something like that, or he's got something going in the in the pot and stuff and everything. He's like, all right, we're gonna take a break, we're gonna go. And then they'll come back and talk about how they were just eating some of the whatever he made. And it's like so but they're just a rambunctious bunch of guys, and
Rambunctious.
they are they are entertaining to listen to because of their camaraderie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
that to me is enjoyable. That's why I like to listen to Nerd Cave Retro. Um, Truth be told, this was one of the first podcasts that I started listening to before I found Nerd Cave Retro. And what drew me to Nerd Cave Retro was the fact that Jason and Derek actually sounded like they got along. They weren't just doing it because
They're
somebody
very good
put
at
them
faking
together.
it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, right. Exactly. Yes. So whoever does Jason's makeup though needs to really no. Uh, but whoever does Derek's hair, right on point every time.
right.
No, but in all seriousness, they're a lot of fun to listen to because you can tell they like each other,
Right.
and and they get along. Whereas some podcasts, especially like if it's made by a large entity,
Like a
and
large conglomerate
you
of
like a
some sort.
like a iHeart made podcast, or you know what I mean, like
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
You can tell some of those are just like you and you, we like both of your personalities, yeah, but they don't go together. And you know what I mean? Like, and some of them, you listen to it and they're like, okay, I understand each side, but also they don't mesh well together as people. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's difficult to listen to podcasts where you don't feel the camaraderie there, unless
Right.
you're there strictly for like a news report or something like the
Just give
sort.
me the news for
Just give
goodness
me the
sake.
news. I don't want to hear.
Well,
Yeah.
the final thing is kind of like just kind of trying to transition, bringing people together. um,
Right.
I think D&D Beyond would be a really good tool. Now I know that they're going to try to do this Unreal Engine 3D, almost video game like thing that
Right.
they're planning on doing, which I don't know. I need to see it first. I need to see how it plays
Mhm.
because it doesn't make any sense if I think the theater of the mind
Mhm.
works out. I'm sure the world that I've created looks different to you than it does to everybody else, and I
Sure.
like that idea.
Yeah, like
Um,
it looks my imagination is coming up with whatever the things are, and
Right.
yeah.
And with the but what I would like to do is I want everybody to be able to have like their character sheet up and be able to do the things that they're doing. But whenever they cast, use one of their abilities or cast or anything like that,
Hmm.
or I want to be able to have it more streamlined. So for example, if y'all are rolling initiative and stuff, I
Hmm.
want to be able to have like an initiative meter
Hmm. Hmm.
where I can just tap it and then suddenly it's that person's turn,
Right.
and then tap it's that person's turn, whatever.
Yeah.
And then with anybody who is casting a spell or something like that, I want them to be able to tap it and it comes to me so I can see what it does.
Right.
So like when you hit it, it comes up on my screen and I can be like, okay, so this is what happens
Hmm.
instead of me having to search for whatever the hell it is.
Right.
So I would love to have something in that wheelhouse, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I think that would be very helpful for everyone involved,
Yeah.
and it would keep things moving, so to speak.
You're right.
It because right now, if I've never been in a game where we were higher than level 8, I think,
Mm.
and as a result, I'm not very familiar with anything over level 5, really,
All right. So what you're
because
telling me by saying that, not to cut you off, but we're all about to die, aren't we?
no. So
I don't know
here's
what
an
I'm
interesting
doing
thing.
past this. I think it's just better to end things right now.
Let's just end the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, and I think a lot of campaigns don't get past level 5 to 10
Yeah.
because they just kind of fizzle out, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And that hasn't happened in our crew because
Yeah.
everybody's there, everybody is invested in a way I haven't seen before.
Right.
Uh,
I think the group is really good. I agree with you. Everybody shows up.
right? I
We
mean,
have
when
had a
they
couple of
can,
games. Yeah, it's like, but it's always like something important or something that
right?
had been planned for a good while. You know what I mean?
Or
It's not
something
just like, hey,
that
I
came
went to
up all
dinner
of a
and I
sudden.
forgot about you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not.
nobody's ever
Yeah,
forgotten. That's
yeah,
really what it
yeah. It's
is. I
so yeah.
mean,
That's
yeah,
exactly the thing.
they might show up. They might show up on a day that we weren't having the game.
Right. Wait.
You
We
know,
playing tonight? Wait. No. No. Next
oops.
week. Okay.
But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I've never seen it where anybody shows up and it's where they didn't show up because they forgot. I've never
Yeah.
seen that.
Yeah, a couple of us
Um,
is it's like, oh no, oh sorry, don't mind me, I'm just eating my dinner. I mean,
it's
I'm
like,
always eating, but
right? Well,
you know,
yeah, that's to be expected. And but like, so I'm very surprised that we have gone almost an entire year, and because the first game was March of last year, so we're
yeah,
coming up on the
coming up
one
on a year.
year
Yeah.
anniversary of us getting together as a group. And I think the longest I've ever played in a single campaign might be a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I've never so as a player I've never seen anything higher. And
Right.
as a DM, of course, because this is the first game I've ever DM'd.
Right.
So so I'm in a situation where it's like, here's all these spells that do some cool stuff, but I don't know what they do.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
I don't have these memorized.
Right.
Luckily, we have Billy around because he does seem to have better memory than I do, and
Right.
he's been playing.
Yeah, he's like really quick witted on that stuff. Like
He really is
on
like
so many, like almost everybody's character. Like he's like, hey, aren't you level whatever? You don't you get something something or other and
you
this and
get
that and you're like, wait,
they get two
oh yes I
attacks.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get two attack actions.
Yeah.
It's like
Wait, how do
uh
you remember all of this?
oh, they got 3d6 of sneak attack damage here,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah. It's just
oh,
like yeah, he's like so meticulous with the details. Though is the
right,
thing.
and that's the
It's like
thing.
he is super detailed about it. Like,
And the thing is, I just found. I think this is the case. He hasn't been playing for as long as I have, and
really?
from what I understand, because it's like I've been playing for maybe 7, 8 years, something like that now.
Yeah.
But he's been playing less, but I think he's more of a DM than I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I
I
was
could see
always a
that.
player.
Well, I could see that because of his just overall knowledge. You know what I mean? Like I could see him doing that.
Well, I'm
Uh
gonna something interesting today is going to end up happening. One of my old characters is going to show up.
oh,
I'm going to tell you that, or at least he should, if you guys do what you're supposed to.
right.
And
Yeah,
the
if we turn the actual leaf over.
right,
Yeah,
so now I remember all of my characters because I've only had three of them,
I see.
and one of them was, and I'm not going to tell you the character that might show up today, but the one my very first one was like this regal, um, spoiled rich kid, uh, uh, elf that kind of was kicked out of his kingdom because he stole his father's ships, one of them anyway,
Oh my god.
and he destroyed it. So now he's trying to gather the money to buy a new one. So that looks just like the one he destroyed.
So he could just
So his
replace it.
dad
Yeah.
wouldn't notice. And
Oh
that's
wow.
his whole backstory. He's
Wow.
like, and he's like, I'm trying to get the money together for this, and I'm
Right.
hoping that my
For
dad
this
doesn't notice.
exact thing. Yeah.
And
Uh
it's so funny to me the because he hated fighting. He wasn't really all that good, so he'd be like if they get into a fight and he's like laying down on the ground, prone, acting like he's dead, just stuff like that. I mean, it was hilarious.
oh man.
Uh,
I have a question. Do they make a so we were talking about things that we'd like to see. Do they make anybody, I'm not saying like come from D&D and beyond. Uh does anybody make a whether it be some type of video game where you make your own, like how we go to the maps
yeah,
on Owlbear and you can make the little map and this is a
and
representation.
this is yeah. Mhm.
Would so
Well,
my question
that
is there a battle chess type board where you can click here, move your character, and they do the movement, engage the enemy. It does the roll dice if you want to, you can tell it to roll the dice for the attack, and it'll do the thing and display the results. Everybody can talk as a team chat kind of thing,
right.
and
Um,
you know,
that
and
is
that kind
what
of thing.
they're working toward. That is what they're hoping D&D Beyond turns into. That's actually
I
part
could
of
see that. I could see that
the
being a thing.
presentation that they had not long ago. Well, when they announced D&D 1, which is what they're calling, or 1 D&D, I can't remember what it's called.
Mhm.
It's one of those things. And
Something like that. Yeah.
they showed off this video game-esque, um, interface where that was basically what it was. They
Mhm.
had the whole, you could see a 3D representation of the dungeon they were in, and
Yeah.
the characters were there, and you would tell them what to do, and there would be like a special effect showing the different things going on.
Yeah.
Right now, the closest we have to that is probably Owlbear Rodeo and D20. I mean, is it D20? What's the website called? No. Let me see. It's a roll 20, I think. Okay, roll
Oh, okay.
20 is the platform. Yeah, everything you need for online. It is an online tabletop RPG.
Right.
So that is basically the closest that we have right now.
Okay. Okay.
So there is not a thing that exists that is exactly that, but it is very close.
Yeah, because there's so many games out there that have aspects of what this is
Right,
that are just campaign alone, or you can play multiplayer type thing, but it's all like action based type thing.
right.
If you could make your own
I mean,
board, your own
and
city and stuff and everything, yeah, you know what I mean?
and there's stuff that does that that's not necessarily D&D related, like the
Right, like,
RPG Maker
yeah, I was gonna say
and
RPG Maker would be a good start, I think, in that way,
RPG in a
but
Box is another one
mhm.
that does it. But those are extremely complex to be able to go in and it's not very user friendly to be honest.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
tried to use it before.
yeah, I've had RPG Maker before, and I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into
Yeah,
that.
there's a
Me, I
lot,
just
yeah.
have to use my imagination.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I do. In fact, it only occurs to me right now that I don't have a battle mat for the things that I have planned tonight.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna have to do that once we get off this call.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
But uh, so I guess we better
Yeah.
wrap this up.
Time to wrap this up, it sounds like, because we only got a couple of hours left, Wally.
Right before I mean, and I got to cook dinner too tonight. So,
Yeah, yeah, so do I.
uh, but
Uh,
uh,
I'm
but
not
thank
sure
you
what we're
so
doing
much
for dinner,
for
actually.
watching. I'm sorry for the coughing. I'm getting over COVID.
You're you're okay.
But uh, but thank you so much for watching, for listening to Dead Game. Uh, I want you to check us out online at Dead Game Pod,
Mhm.
and you can check me out at the Real Big Wall
Mm,
everywhere, basically. At I am the Rampage, at I am the Rampage one on Twitter, and that's the number one.
right.
You can also check us out on Twitch at those same locales.
Yes.
We stream occasionally. The audio for our D&D adventures is on the patreon.com/slash the real big wall, and I think that's everything. Is there anything that you can think of that I forgot?
Yeah, actually, so, we were talking about the links and stuff and everything. So we are available on multiple platforms now. So
Yes.
before, so we started off on Spotify, of course, because we're using Anchor. And then we submitted to Apple Podcasts and everything. So we are now on, yeah, of course, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Castbox is available. We're in Pocket Cast, Overcast, Bullhorn, Castro, Player FM, Podcast Addict, Podbeam, Pod Hero,
Oh, Pocket
Radio
Casts.
Public. we're on a bunch of places now.
Wow.
So if Apple Podcasts or Spotify is not your thing, there is options, people, as well as, of course, we do submit on YouTube. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, the handsomenesses that is Wally, then you can check us out on YouTube. And the for the most part, yeah, like Wally said, our links are at Dead Game Pod. We try to keep it all the same, so that way it's easy to search. Alrighty, everybody, thank you for joining us. Tune in next time when we talk about Double Dragon. And we'd like to give a special shout out to our lovely patron, Mike Evelyn. Thanks to Mike. Follow Mike on Twitter at Jester's Court Pod. You'll find his link in the description of this video or show notes of the podcast. Till next time, everybody. See ya.